Right, Natalie, thank you very much for having me in your lesson this afternoon. What I noticed was there's quite a widespread of ability in that group.
Yes, there is.
And how do you find that? How are you managing that?
You just have to make sure you differentiate each lesson. There's two pupils in there that have IEPs, and that's for literacy. And so it's just keywords, having them available for them so that with definitions, they find it hard to spell keywords. So I always have keyword mats in class.
Do you always have those mats?
Yeah.
Right, okay, thank you. What I thought we'd do is, if I'll give you a run through what I saw, but I thought it'd be helpful first to hear how you thought it had gone.
I don't think it went to plan.
Okay, what happened? Why didn't it go to plan?
I think I got a bit of stage fright. I think my timings were off. I think I spent too long on the initial activity. I had to cut out the group work, and then the extended writing question, I didn't get to show the model answers I'd prepared for them. So quite a few things were missing from the lesson that I would have liked to include.
Okay, and you said you're clearly disappointed
Yeah.
by that. What would those things have added to the lesson?
Well, I think discussion, a lot more discussion could have helped. The paired activity, I think the kids sort of just did it individually, really. It should have been a paired activity. And the group activity that I did want to do, I didn't have time to do that. And then the extended writing question at the end, I would have given them model answers so they would know how to improve, so know what things I would have needed to add to the work to improve it. It's just time was an issue for me today.
And was that today because of all the cameras and?
Yeah,
and
I think it was
everything?
waiting for the sound, is it the boom, for them to get the sound so they could answer the question. And then I think I just I was thrown off quite a bit, to be honest.
Okay. Well, in terms of the things that I thought you might do differently next time, I've identified exactly the same things as you have, so I think that's a good thing. And I'll just, if I give you a bit of an overview of what I saw from where I was sitting, and that might help kind of move things on a bit. And actually, you've really helped explain something to me, because when I looked in their books and I spoke to the students, they've clearly been making good progress over time. And there were features, some of their responses which showed that they normally do certain things and that they know certain things. And I was a bit surprised, and it's obviously because of what you said, is that some of those things weren't evident in that particular lesson, and it's obviously because of what you said about the time and so on. They've made good progress over time in their books. The pupils I spoke to clearly knew I think it's their second lesson on the new topic, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yes, and they knew what they were trying to achieve. They could tell me about their previous learning, and you checked some of that out, didn't you? The previous learning of the 5 food groups, and give me an example from each one and so on. So they knew all about that. They responded very well to the work that you set them. I thought the pupil response was good. They were on task. Now, I don't know how it felt from where you were, but from my sitting, pupils were on task for all of the lesson. They cooperated well with each other. They helped each other. Now, I know that you've said they didn't do the pair work quite as well as you thought they had done, but they weren't bad at it at all. I was interested in the key words, because when I looked at the extended writing, a lot of them have used those keywords that you've given them on the mats, so type 2 diabetes and things like that.
Yeah.
They'd use that. And do you normally do that? Do you normally give them those keywords?
I usually put the keywords on the board, and for the people who have problems with literacy, I usually give them the definition.
Okay.
But it's not for everyone I don't give everyone the definition.
So you kind of differentiate
Yeah.
it about who gets definitions and who doesn't.
But how I arranged them today on the tables was at least one person with a school action on each table. So I provided each table with a keyword mat
Right, okay, I understand that now. That's really helpful. You did some peer assessment at the end of the lesson.
Yeah.
I thought that was really strong. I thought that was the strength of what you did. I thought it really helped the pupils understand what they were trying to achieve. They were good at evaluating what their peers had done, and they were quite good at feeding it back. I think there's a bit of scope for sharpening that up, but they were pretty good at that, weren't they?
Yeah.
And the lesson was well structured.
The extension to that plenary would have been for them to peer assess each other's work, and then I would have put a model answer on, and then for their own work they would have said how they were going to improve it.
Yeah. So just let's go. Let's just try and go through now the things that you would have done if it hadn't been for the cameras and so on. So you talked about the group task. You'd have done that differently. Tell me about the group task.
There was a task that I actually omitted because I was running out of time. We were going to prepare. They had to pretend they ran a restaurant in the Olympic Village, and they had to design a menu for an athlete.
And they were going to do that in groups.
It would have been a group of 3 or 4.
Because that was the extended writing task, was a diet for a bodybuilder or something, wasn't it? So that would have linked.
Yeah, it would have linked to the bodybuilder.
Okay. What was the other? Tell me one of the other things that you said you needed to do. Do you do differently next time?
Just include the progress, the extended writing questions showing the model answers. I would have included that group work, and maybe at the start of the lesson, the consider all factors, engagement activity. I possibly could have got them to work in pairs and discuss rather than writing. We could have done some discussion there.
That was the McDonald's
Yeah.
sponsorship question. Yeah, and I think you could have linked that much more to the food issue and the actual theme of the lesson that you were following. So I agree with you about that. I think I agree with you as well that there could have been more opportunities for them to talk so that you knew much more clearly what they could and couldn't do and where they were stuck and so on. So I agree with you about that, and I agree with you that I think it would have been helpful to have had some model answers at the end so they knew what a good outcome looked like. So I think those 3 things I'd agree with you about. I've just got one question now, which is about targets. I wasn't certain when I went round and spoke to them about how the target setting thing works. I know you do different topics, and we're on a different topic, and some of them, they seem to know what level they were at, and for some of them they said targets that were the same as the level they were currently working at. Now, is that just a confusion, or can you just help me out with that?
There were the set targets at the start of the year.
Right.
And they're the end of Key Stage 3 targets. So they're the targets they have to achieve by the end of Year 9. However, with some of them, maybe in certain assessment tasks or tests, they actually achieved their target level. And if that is the case, then we give them a sub-level above, or the level above, as the new target grade in science. So if they were working on target, then they're not expected to carry on working just on target. They're expected to try and work above that target.
Okay. That's really helpful, thank you. So overall, I think looking in their books and talking to the pupils, I think they've made good progress over time. I think the teaching was good. I think you've identified things to make it much more securely good. And as we've said, that may well be because of the cameras and everything else that was going on in the room today. And I thought the behaviour of the pupils was good as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.